Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Praetor Magic. My name's Seth Cross, and joined with me for Reflections of the Council every Monday. Well, almost every Monday. He's back this time, so it's not every Monday. Phyrexian, you're back.
Yeah, I took a little vacation, went to Pigeon Forge, did some things.
You weren't here. You abandoned me.
Yeah,
You left me with John.
yeah, ooze combo. I heard. Yeah,
He made
sounds
me
fun.
build Oozes. No, it was actually my idea because it was the jankiest thing I could think of, and it wound up being decent. Although, did you hear about how much the deck would cost?
I did not hear about how much the deck would cost.
Nearly $500 or 77 ticks.
Wow,
We did not stick to budget this time. I felt like Ooze Tribal was restrictive enough
I
that
agree.
that when like Mana Echoes or Vampiric Tutor to find like a combo piece, I was like, you know what? The hell with the budget. Like
Yeah,
if we do
I
budget
think you're
oozes,
right that when you're playing with ooze, you got to make a little
we
a
that
little
was
leeway somewhere.
that was where we drew the line by not drawing the line on our budget. There you go. But you're back, and now we're gonna. It's you came back right after, or right in the middle of. I don't know. It's about to be over the preview season for Core 2020, and I have to say, have you heard of people getting all kinds of mad because people, when Modern Horizons was being talked about, people were saying, "Well, oh, this is like Commander Horizons because there's so many cool Commander cards for this." Did you hear that?
Yeah,
So this is now just Commander Core Set 2020. Just gonna say it
yeah,
now. Just gonna piss everyone off.
I think so. I mean, we already have 12 legendary creatures.
Right? There's so many legendary creatures. Um, but yeah, so normally we kind of do like a set review-ish thing, but I don't think it's fully out yet. And I don't want to do like 5 million set reviews like we did for what was the one? War of the
The
Spark?
Spark.
War of the Spork? Yeah, you remember that one?
Yeah, I remember your mispronunciation on that one, just like mechanics and all the other ones.
No, no, I'm just referring to. Do you remember the 4 weeks of previews that we did?
Yeah, I remember that too. I mean, I'm trying to block it out, but I do remember it.
Yeah, 4 weeks. So we're gonna try not to do that. We're gonna try to split this up into maybe only 2 episodes. The first one being the legendary creatures of the set, which is what we're gonna talk about today, and then maybe we'll do like a set review, or we'll try to find like the cool cards, um, maybe next week. But legendary creatures, there are, as Phyrexian mentioned, 12 of them that we know about so far. One did just get revealed today, so our thoughts may be a little muddled on that one, and we'll let you know which one it is when it pops up. But I figured that we were just going to go in alphabetical order for this because that way some of the cooler cards are toward the end, which allows us to kind of speed through some of the first part of like this is what we think of, these first few, and hopefully like dive in a little deeper to these ones on the end because there's at least the last two I'm super excited for. I think you are too, as just knowing the kind of player you are, but I'm super excited for those last two.
Yeah,
And
I
two in the middle. Two in the middle too.
think more for the last one.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we'll get to that. We'll
I
get to
could see
that.
myself really easily building about 6 of these.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Uh,
I think 6.
I think I've come up with themes or at least ideas for at least 4 of them, like almost once they were revealed. Now, like 2 of them are super easy, whereas like you look at them like, oh, well, I know what the theme is going to be for this one. But aside from that, like some of the other ones, I was like, oh, I can think of instantly what I want to do with this. But all right, so let's get started. We're gonna go in alphabetical order, like I said. So we're gonna start with Atemesis,
I'd say Adamus.
Artemis, all seeing. Because I don't have to say words right. Hey, if other content creators can
That
do it
is
wrong, it's
full
okay.
evidenced by this podcast.
I mean, first episode ever, mechanics.
Yep.
All right, so this is a legendary creature Sphinx. It's just a rare. Just a rare. It's a 4/5 for 6 mana. It's 3 blue, blue, blue. It's flying, as all Sphinxes tend to be. For 2 to blue and tap it, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. When Artemis deals damage to an opponent, you may reveal your hand. If cards with at least 6 different converted mana costs are revealed this way, that player loses the game. So I know I said that we were going in this alphabetically and that some of the ones in front were the least exciting. This one's actually kind of cool.
I actually really like this one.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of recently Etrata from the recent Ravnica block, where you have to exile stuff with the hit counters, and then once you get to 3, that person loses the game. But this is like, it's literally a one shot if you do it right. And with blue being able to draw, copious amounts of cards, I feel like it shouldn't
And
be
being able
that.
to hold on to their cards.
Yeah, I feel like it shouldn't be impossible for people to lose games to this.
I'm thinking just, Thought Vessel, Library of Lang, Reliquary Tower, a couple other ways, and Desert Hall, a couple other ways to have no maximum hand size. Just draw a bunch of cards, and then this can just kill, like, easily on a hit.
Yeah. Now you
Like,
do have to kind of build the deck with that in mind. Like, you can't have like, normally you have a plethora of 3 drops in a deck, right? Because that's around the sweet spot, and a lot of like the
I don't
more
know how
common.
much you would, though.
Well, for this you wouldn't. That's my point. Is like, for this you want to try to balance it out more. You want. I mean, blue
Well,
blue has a decent amount
I'm
of.
saying, like, as long as you had, 0 through 6, and then maybe a couple 7 drops,
Yeah.
I think you'd be pretty good. Honestly, just with the amount of cards that blue can draw. Because the way I'm thinking about building this deck is not having, 7 cards in hand and pulling this off. It's having, 20, 30 cards in hand and pulling this off.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm really thinking about building this deck, is having a huge hand where, oh, I reveal it, and oh, there happen to be 6 out
Yeah.
of my huge hand that are there. Yeah, you can't go overboard on like 2 and 3 drops, but I don't think you have to like segment it out like, oh, I'm gonna have 6 of these and 6 and 6 and 6 and 6 or something like that, or 8 and 8 and 8, whatever you want to do.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Another thing that I just thought about as we were talking was that this does seem like a Lab Maniac kind of deck where the point to your deck is to basically draw, have Lab Maniac out and win, and then Artemis is kind of like how you get rid of that one person that you think is going to stop you. So like the black player with the removal or something like that, you just go to hit them and try to get them out before you get down to where you have to worry about them trying to instant speed murder Lab Maniac.
Yeah, I see that too, but I also saw it kind of as a way to get away from the Lab Maniac win. We're always talking about how Mono Blue doesn't have a lot of ways to win other than the, control combo and the Lab Maniac draw your deck ways. But here, this is another way that you could legitimately try to win. You could literally try to set it up where you weren't even trying to Lab Maniac. You're just trying to get, like I said, 20, 30 cards in your hand, Whisper Silk Cloak or something down to give it unblockable, and just hammer people in the face and be like, okay, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead.
Yeah.
Easy.
It might still be like the backup plan though.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably still have Labman and Jace Wilder in here as backups, but just in case. But I
Yeah.
think my main game plan would just literally be to try to use this ability to kill people. I just think that would be a fun way to kill people.
So we're
That might
not
just because I'm
gonna
a terrible person.
I mean, agreed. We're not gonna like rank these each, right? But what's your first impression, high or low on this?
Mid high probably.
Okay.
Do I think it's gonna be super powerful? No, I just think it will be fun. I guess. Like on a scale of like fun to build and interesting to build, I think high. But on like an actual competitive, probably like a low
Yeah.
medium, really.
I don't think it has enough of a payoff to be like super competitive.
Yeah.
Um
Like super good, not so much, but fun to build and fun to, work out. I think I'd give it a high, like on the interesting scale for me.
yeah. I think that's probably about where I am, maybe a little lower than you because mono blue is typically not my thing. But this is something that we've been seeing them do with different archetypes and whatnot before, is where it's a very aggressive thing to do in a color that's not typically that aggressive. Blue's not typically known for attacking one-shotting people out. I thought the same thing about Kestia the Cultivator in the Enchantress deck from last year, was that like it was an aggressive Enchantress deck, and I like
Yeah.
that. I like them doing something different like that. So I'm kind of around where you are, maybe a little bit lower, just because mono blue is not my thing. And even though this is an aggressive card, I don't know how I would build mono blue aggro outside of like the Tetsuko Umezawa deck that I used to run for 3DH. Like that's the only real aggressive blue deck I've ever had. So, but all right,
That's fair. Dang, going on to Draku Seth.
did I spell it right?
Draku
Oh, I did.
Seth.
So Drakuseth,
Mauve Flame.
oh, you're gonna do it. Okay.
Yeah, I thought we could take turns. I mean,
Okay, all right. Well, you took a week off. I wanted to make sure you weren't rusty.
Draku Seth Mauve Flames. It's It's the Draku version of Seth.
Oh, okay. That doesn't make any sense.
Or red, and it's a legendary creature. It's a dragon. It's also just a rare, quote unquote, just a rare from Seth. Flying, whenever Draku Seth Mob Flames attacks, it deals 4 damage to any target and 3 damage to each of up to 2 other targets.
So, first of all, hey Dan.
Hello,
Or
Kraus.
that's DB Cross, yeah. So a little bit more expensive than Artemis.
I mean, one more.
Yeah. Well, in a color then that doesn't typically ramp as well as blue, or at least not. I always struggle to say blue
I
ramps.
think
Blue just hits its land drops and then has
blue
rock,
hits
which
its
red
land
does.
drops and has a lot of artifact mana and hits the artifact mana because it's drawing all the cards. And
Yeah.
red doesn't do that as well. I would agree.
Yeah. So that's a little concerning right off the bat. And then the fact that this is an attack trigger only, I get that it's really strong. It's like an upgraded but not really Inferno Titan that you can put in the command zone. That's how I feel when I saw this.
I think it is sort of an upgrade on Inferno Titan.
Okay. You where's the upgrade? Show me the lie.
I mean, it's not enter the battlefield, which does suck, but I mean, when you're in mono red, you're gonna be running, Hellfire is not cheaper. It's still 7 CMC. It just doesn't have the 3 red. But that was to DP Kraus. But I don't like that and Belf. I don't know. But to me, like, yes, you don't get there in the battlefield, which sucks. But then Inferno Titan's only 3 damage split, you know, and this is a total of 10 damage every time it attacks. So I think it's like worse because you don't have to enter the battlefield, but it is better if it actually gets to the point where it attacks. And in mono red, you are going to be running
Yeah.
lots of ways to give it haste. You're going to be running anger. You're going to be running fever. You're going to be running hammer perfros. You're going to be running those ways to give it haste. Probably lightning greaves and swift foot boots too, just for good measure. But you're going to be running ways to give the big thing haste and just attack. But
Does the fact that it's 3 targets, does that so the fact that it says other targets. I'm sorry, let me rephrase how I'm
yeah,
gonna say this. The fact that it's saying other targets, can you not just hit somebody for 10 straight? Is that what I'm
yeah,
reading?
I don't think you can just hit them for 10 straight.
Yeah, so you gotta have
Yeah, hit
4
them
and
and
then
then
3 and then 3
yeah,
separately.
yeah.
I don't know. I kind of don't
Well,
like that too. I would kind of like.
Well, it's up to, so you don't even have to do the 3 because otherwise it would fizzle if you didn't have the second and third target.
Yeah,
But
yeah, which that's important
I
for not making it miss, right?
I,
But
I would agree with Kraus here. I am not excited about this card as a commander, but I
yeah.
think like in a dragon deck in the 99, it's fine. Like
That's a lot for a dragon. And at 7 mana, aren't there?
it's really not a lot for a dragon because
I don't know. I
dragons
kind
usually
of
run 6, 7, 8.
I think 6 is really the sweet spot for dragons. Typically, there are
I think
just so many good
Bellfire
dragons
dragons
nowadays.
7, Atarkus 7.
I think Atark is one of the few exceptions. I don't know that Bellfire goes in like every dragon deck.
I don't think I've seen many that don't. Dragon Mage is 7 too. It gets ran in a lot of dragon decks. There's a lot of 7, and Udvar Hellkite is 8. It gets ran in a lot.
Hold
Which I mean, they're obviously very good cards, but I mean, there's definitely room in dragon decks.
I am prepared today. I have EDH Rec pulled up. Bellfire Dragon is only in 5,455 decks,
Yeah,
which
only.
is only. Hold on. If I go to themes and go to dragons again, edhrec.com. Haha.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at what are. Oh, okay. Like just looking at like the top commanders list, like the Ur Dragon being the most.
As commander here.
Yeah. That's 1,476 decks. So yeah, I'm sure there's probably a lot. Hold on, I could probably do this better. Go to the tribes page, because
Yeah,
that
but
will
I
show me
mean,
all the dragon decks.
I'd say very low as a commander, kind of low in general on this card. Because
So
I mean, it'd be better if it didn't have to attack. Like if it had
yeah,
enter the battlefield and attack clause that Inferno Titan does. I mean, then it'd be pretty good, I think. But
so Bellfire was in almost 5,000.5 decks, right?
Now you
5.5
did Kraus. We've only done 2 so far.
There are 3,702 dragon decks on EDH Rec, so Balefire is getting put in all kinds of stuff that isn't just a dragon deck.
Yeah. Hellfire sees a lot of play, I think.
You see a lot of play. Boom, got him.
Not
All right.
anymore, I don't.
So you're on the lower end then for this
Yeah,
one?
I'm definitely on the lower end on this one, just in both. Like, I don't think it's particularly interesting as a commander. I don't think it's particularly good.
I don't think this is my lowest one of the group, but it's fairly low. It's definitely
It's
below
not my
Artemis.
lowest.
Okay.
Yeah, not my lowest.
The next one actually we're going to talk about is actually higher than this one, but I still think lower than Artemis. But what I'm talking about is Gargos, I want to say, Vicious Watcher. So,
Yeah.
Legendary Hydra, first of all, I don't know what Wizards is doing about constantly doing all these like legendary tribes and then making them care about the tribe, which is not something that was always a thing before. And I'm talking, of course, about Ayula, the legendary bear from Modern Horizons, actually being a cares about bears style deck. But this one is 3 green, green, green. It's another rare. It's an 8/7 with vigilance. Hydra spells you cast cost 4 less to cast. Whenever a creature you control becomes a target of a spell, Gargos fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So basically, don't touch my stuff, or else I'm gonna beat up your friends. I like this one because Hydra spells casting 4 less. Hydras are typically pretty expensive, or they're X spells, so that you have to pay into them. And having them cost 4 less just basically gives you like free +1/+1 counters on a lot of Hydras.
Yeah.
The biggest fallback I see from this one is that it is mono green, and Hydras are in mostly Gruul and even a little bit blue. I think
John.
there's like, oh no, I think there's a one Hydra that's
Is the new Gyros, right? Isn't he a Hydra?
yeah,
He's
he was. You're
John?
right. He's Jund.
Oh.
But I think there's even a splash of blue. So having it, but either way, my point is that having it just be mono green doesn't like. It's cool for this to be a Hydra like Lord effect, I guess. But then it also doesn't encompass all the Hydra colors. So that kind of is weird.
Well, I mean, you've got Progenitus that has all the colors, and he's a Hydra, so
But
the
is he?
Hydras encompass all the colors.
He's an avatar, isn't he?
Isn't he a Hydra avatar?
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. Well, while I do that, what did you
I
what's
don't
your
know.
thoughts on
Like
Hydra
you
Boy?
said, it's kind of the cost reduction is nice. Again, like with all these cards, like all of them are triple blue, triple green, triple white,
Yeah.
triple black. You know, so triple makes it awful hard to splash into other colors, which is problematic, especially for this card where it is so much of a hey, this tribe matters things. Like I could
Yeah.
see you putting like Adamus or however you say the first one.
Artemis.
No, not Artemis. Adamus or however you say the first one in like the 99 of another blue deck. You
Yeah.
don't even like Kraus is saying that he happens to have a mono green Hydra deck already, so this is going to go into his mono green Hydra deck. I think you're talking about a very select number of
Yeah.
players who are actually going to be doing that. And even in Gruul, triple green can be hard. I mean, not as hard because green has so many good ways for mana fixing, obviously with Cultivate, Kadama's Reach, and the like. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That kind of makes me a little lower on it than if it was like 4 and 2 green.
So for people who haven't noticed, and just because Phyrexian pointed out, all of the monocolored legends of the core set have this like triple colored mana thing. It's part of the legendary cycle, I guess, of these. A lot of people are thinking that this is hinting at even more so at a trip back to Theros because it's good for devotion. Hydras were big on Theros, so were dragons. I don't remember if Sphinxes were. Yeah, Sphinxes were. Yeah, Sphinxes. I think were Greek mythology. But so yeah, it's kind of like hinting back toward like, hey, we're going back to Theros eventually, which has been kind of a widespread speculation just since people think we're going back to save Elspeth. And plus, that's also where Gideon's home is, so the Gatewatch could be going back there to kind of like lay his, not his remains, because he turned ash, spoiler alert, but like his armor and his thrall, maybe in some kind of a bring stuff home style story. And then we'll see what the hell's been going on in Theros since we left and, killed the god.
I don't know, like I said, it's fine.
Yeah. Like I said, I think this is a little bit lower still than Artemis because this is so pigeonholed into one thing, but it is at least more exciting to me than the 7 mana dragon that sits there and does maybe nothing except get
I
removed.
yeah, I think it's definitely a large step up from the dragon. I'd give it a low medium kind of
Yeah.
on both, just because I'm not very interested in building a Hydra deck. But
Yeah. I mean, not
and
for nothing.
Verdinis is a Hydra avatar, by the way. I looked it up too.
Yeah. It Oh yes, thank you for bringing that back up. Yes, it was. This is also an 8/7 for one less in colors that ramp. Now, granted, it doesn't have reach or anything. It has vigilance. I
It's
do like,
vigilance.
yeah, I like vigilance on stuff like this. I'm sorry, in green legendaries because green gives out trample like breathing.
Yeah,
So it's not super hard to make this an 8/7 vigilance trampler, but the vigilance means so much to green decks where they can swing a little bit more freely and have defenses.
yeah. I do kind of like the fact that they seem to be going towards that route with
Yeah.
green now, like giving a lot more green creatures vigilance.
Yeah, white is seemingly getting more like first strike and double strike, and they still have vigilance, like they're not just losing it, but that seems to be more the thing. Not to mention flying, but flying is also shared a little bit with
Hey, let's
actually
talk about
all the
our
colors.
our next legend. Keep it moving. Golos, Tireless Pilgrim.
E.
For 5 colorless, legendary artifact creature, Scout. When Golos, Tireless Pilgrim enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a land card. Notice it does not say basic. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. And then for 2 and Wooburg, you can exile the top 3 cards of your library, and you may pay them this turn without paying their mana cost. Now, Seth, I believe we've talked many, many times, even
Mm.
on just this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
about how great being able to cheat spells out for cheaper than they cost is.
Oh, okay. We've talked about a few different things on that come into play with this card, but yes, that is one of them. It's a big cost, right? So it's a 7.
Yeah,
But if you're packing like, if you pay 7 and hit expropriate and I don't know, think of something dumb off the top, but just expropriate alone, which is a 9 drop, right?
yeah.
7 blue.
7
So
blue blue.
if you
Even like
hit,
just time stretch. Why not just say time stretch?
well, my point
Turn
is
it.
that if you do 7 and hit that, and even just 2 other lands, because it says play, if you haven't played a land already, or if you have multiple land drops, who knows? Because there's all the colors there, so you have access to green. You can get another land and because you can play lands and expropriate for 7. Like that's insane. Just and that's like a kind of like a bad like hit of 3, right?
Yeah.
2 lands and an expropriate. I mean, sure, expropriate's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying hitting only
That and
expropriate's
notice,
bad,
like,
but
there's not a limit.
yeah, you just
It's not. You can only do this once a turn.
that's true.
If you can make 7 mana with Wooburg multiple times, if you got a Mirari's Wake, if you got a Mana Reflection, you got a Zendikar Resurgent,
Got a Ramos with 10 counters on him and 4
yeah.
leftover mana.
If you throw Ramos into this deck,
Yep.
yeah, man, here it comes. Or if you just throw this guy into a Ramos stack, even.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best play. I don't super see him being a huge commander. A lot of people are calling him like a new lands commander because he can get any land. So a lot of people are like, a lot of people's instant idea was, oh, this is the new Maze's
Oh
End
yeah,
deck.
Sakama definitely. Kraus would go into this deck.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Because then if you hit Zakama with your 7, you just untap and do it again. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Plus whatever else you're hitting with Zakama. Because again, even if you hit Zakama and a land, that's still great. But yeah, a lot of people are like calling Golos a lands deck, which sure, why not? Maybe I'm not against it. I love dumb mazes and wins. I'm down for that. I don't know why I'm down for that, but I am.
I do, and the fact it costs 7, and he's a 5 drop, and he's gonna get you to 6 when you cast him.
Yep,
So he's
at
gonna get
least.
you, yeah, at least, yeah. You
Yeah,
could go for an ancient tomb or some nonsense like that.
yeah.
But at least 7.
You can go get a
Yeah,
Karoo or
I
something like
like him a
that.
lot. I think he'd be an interesting to build around, or even just an interesting piece for Ramos deck or something like that.
Yeah. So A lot of people have been complaining though for Wizards printing all these 5 color commanders that they're so generically good that they're just printing 5 color good stuff.
Hmm?
Is there like does
I
this
think that's
fit in
fair on this one.
archetype? Yeah, yeah. This
Yeah,
one
I mean
is
it's
very good
definitely
stuffy.
it's very good stuffy. Like it's
Okay.
very I'm gonna run the expropriates and the time walks and the,
Yeah.
the crazy big expensive things, the commas, just because they're good. It's very in that line.
Okay. That's where I was gonna go with that. Is like, do you agree with that this time? Because this one I agree with. Some of the other ones I've been like Morphon is good stuffy in the sense that he's tribal, but I kind of like that. Like, I think that was the purpose to Morphon was, look, we can't print tribal elephants, right? Like, that's just not something we're
Or
gonna really be able to
homunculi.
do. Hmm?
Or homunculi.
Yeah, like we're not gonna be able to do that and make everybody happy. So here's a card that we can kind of do and write it off and be like, hey, you guys, you have a tribal commander for whatever tribe you want. I'm sure
There you
they'll
go.
still do janky tribes every once in a while, but and then this one, it's very good stuff. Yeah, I do feel.
Alright. Wanna talk about the next one?
I do, but I don't because this one's. Oh wait, where are you with Golos?
I'd say high. I'm in
Hi.
both. I'd say definitely high in in terms of the interesting
Mm-hmm.
factor. Because again, I think it's an interesting idea to try to build the deck around. I'm thinking mana dumblers, stuff like that.
Yep.
Um, or even just to put in a Ramos deck, just because you're already doing that thing anyway. So why not have one more way to abuse that mana you're making? Um, I mean, competitive wise, again, not going to be hugely competitive, I don't think. But
Yeah.
people could find a
Unless
way.
unless there's a way to get Wooburg easily, and I can't. I can think of a couple lands that do it. Like you pay 5 into them to do it. I don't I don't think there's like an easy way to fully take advantage of his ability. And plus, oh no, I guess some of the other competitive commanders do cost a little bit, but being a 5 drop, I don't know. I don't see him being highly competitive. I do think so. As somebody who's kind of like I just love value things, I think Golos might be a little bit higher than Artemis. Again, Artemis does something different in a color that I don't really play, so that kind of sticks out to me. So they might be kind of even, I
Yeah,
guess.
eh, this
But
this 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 call you talk about
this
this.
Kalia. So Kalia Zenith Seeker. This is our first mythic that we're going to talk about, and that's going to be kind of a continuing theme as we talk about these.
Womp womp.
She is still a human cleric. She's a 3/3 instead of a 2/2, so she got that going on. She's flying and vigilant now. She got that going on. She only costs red, white, black, so instead of 1 red, white, black like the old Kalia does. And her other ability is that when she enters the battlefield, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal an angel, a demon, and or a dragon from among them and put them in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. There's not really too much to
Hmm.
say about this one in comparison to old Kalia, I think. Old Kalia
Probably is
is,
just so much better.
yeah. We were just talking about cheating costs. Most powerful thing you can do in Magic. This one doesn't do that. It helps you dig for the pieces, but it doesn't help you put them on the battlefield. The best thing I
Hmm.
can say about this one, and we talked a little bit right before we went live, is that I think this is the one you can put in the command zone and not get hated out. You could have OG Kalia in the deck, or like you can run this as a Mardu Angels deck, where like so I didn't read the card fully. I thought it was up to 3 of an Angel Dragon Demon, but that's not how it is. You only get 1 Angel if you're only running Angels. Like you can't get 3. So the best way to run this, I guess, is a plethora. But I think the best way to run this card in general is just to put it in a Kalia deck, or again, like you do Hidden Commander style, have OG Kalia in the deck, and have this at the command zone, kind of trying to make it people think it's not that kind of Kalia deck. I'm just trying to like I like this one better because it's less dangerous, blah blah blah. But then you run Haste Enablers, and then you surprise people, kill them. But that I don't know. With Hidden Commanders, that only works once at a table. So after that, you kind of just have
Hmm.
to play it a little bit more differently.
I love how both Kraus and Nujark tried to spell Kalia and both spelled it wrong.
Listen here, what did we say about making fun of the chat? God damn it, Phyrexian.
I love it.
Oh Jesus. So
But
your
no,
thoughts though?
I agree with them though. Like that this goes in the 99 of Kalia deck, and what you were saying too. And if this Kalia is there, the other Kalia will be there. So you shouldn't expect if you see this one in the command zone that the other one's not lurking in the deck. You shouldn't expect if the other one's in the command zone that this one's not lurking in the deck.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It's just so medium
yeah.
considering.
That's one of the things about reprinting. I think characters that we've seen before,
Yeah,
especially like they didn't add a color, they didn't take away a color, they didn't change anything about her character. It's literally just Kalia still doing Kalia things.
but
So
worse.
she's either yeah, so well she's either gonna be better, which
Lots better, Kraus. I like it.
or she's gonna be worse. So she could either be better or worse. I don't think there's a way to just unless you're just reprinting her for her to stay the same. And they just chose. I think they go the safer route because again, OG Kalia does kind of have that splashy surprise. Sometimes feel bad moments where like you turn 3 have Kalia attacking and you put down massive cruelties and you kill somebody.
And then there's games where I've played Kalia and dropped her, and then I don't have anything to put on my from
Yeah.
my hand. So in those games, this Kalia would be great to go searching for more angels and dragons and demons, but I just don't see her like
Yeah, she's
the
never.
helm of her deck over the other Kalia.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna bump her off. So is it safe to say that you're
I'm
low
very
on
low
her?
on this one.
Lower than Dracuseth, which I think was for both of us our lowest one so far.
Not quite,
Okay.
because I see her as like having more utility in other decks than Dracuseth does.
Yeah.
But I, as like a standalone commander, she'd probably be lower for me than Dracuseth, just because the other Kalia exist. Honestly, she's probably better than Dracuseth
Yeah. I think
otherwise, but since the other Kalia exists, I just can't give her that high marks.
right up until that last part where you said as a commander, I agreed with you. I do think Dracuseth even as a commander is lower to me than this one because utility like this is again like this is a value card. Not quite the value of OG Kalia, but I think this card offers more value than Dracuseth personally because she doesn't have to attack. She doesn't like you get the value on turn 3. And I think that's important and I think that's better than Dracuseth personally. So I think it might even be a little bit lower than Gargos, the Hydra one,
Mhm.
because I think that fight mechanic. We didn't get too much into the fight mechanic, but I think that's actually
It could
pretty
be good.
cool. So yeah, it might be Dracuseth at the bottom, then Kalia, then Gargos. I think for me,
Right.
I am,
Sorry.
however, jealous about the next one you're going to talk about because I think this one's super cool.
Kethis, the Hidden Hand,
Oh,
is white, black, green, so new Abzan commander.
yeah,
He's a legendary creature, Elf Advisor. He's mythic. Legendary spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. And you can exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard, and until end of turn, each legendary card in your graveyard gains. You may play this card from your graveyard.
so cool.
It's pretty cool.
I like
He makes me think a lot of like, what's the one that gets cheaper with the creatures?
Carador.
Also Abzan. Yeah, Carador.
Yeah, the Ghost
Makes me
Chieftain.
think a lot of Carador. It's a
Yep.
very Carador thing, except just with legends.
I think Carador goes in his deck and probably vice versa. Like you could run a Carador reanimator style with legendary creatures now, or not now. Like this doesn't obviously change the whole deck, but this kind of can lean you more toward that way. Plus some of the other things that we've seen, like Dominaria had Arvad, right? So like it just makes a more resilient Abzan legendaries deck. I like it so much because it's not something that we've seen in Abzan. I think that's the reason why I kind of like it. We kind of sort of see it in Orzhov because again of Arvad. We kind of sort of seen it in Selesnya because of OG Captain Sisay. So it's like you're kind of cramming them together into an archetype, and then like here you are. I'm not super crazy about the way the recursion works, but you already have black, so you can almost ignore it except for when you're desperate, and just do
Mhm.
recursion stuff other ways. I do like that it says legendary spells, so planeswalkers count. Legendary like sorceries and stuff count. So like the Kamal's Druidic Vow, which
Yeah,
goes in is like legendary Genesis Wave.
yeah.
So like stuff like that is kind of cool. So and it's an elf. It's an Abzan elf. That's exciting. Do you know why that's exciting, Phyrexian?
Why is that exciting?
So 2 years ago, you remember we got the Tribal Commander Precon?
Mm-hmm.
When they announced that the theme for that year was going to be Tribal, Praetor Magic, way back in the day, but when it was just me, John, and Danny, I did 4 videos, and each video was, this is what I think would be a cool idea. And so far, I have now gotten 3 out of 4 of them right. I did Mardu Vampires, which we got that year. I didn't try to like predict what the cards would do. I just said these are the tribes and the colors I think they could go in, and they were all wedge. They weren't all wedges, but they were all 3 color decks and a fairly popular tribe. I did Jund Goblins, which also has not come true. That's the last one that has come true. I did Esper Vampire Zombies, which just came true with Verena.
Mm-hmm.
And I did Abs and Elves.
Ah,
So I'm just saying. No, DP Cross. This guy, it looks to be that he is from Tarkir. I forget. Wedge, I think, when his video came out, mentioned some kind of translation back to the Abzan house. I don't remember what it was, though.
I mean, I think, meh. I'm not into the whole legendary build around legendary creature deck as much as some other people are. I know there's several good commanders for it. I've never tried it. Maybe one day I'll try it. Not one that I was as super excited about, but I think he's a
But,
cool commander.
Planeswalkers. Doesn't have to be legendary creatures.
I
You're
know.
thinking too small.
I'm very much with the Kraus though, where it's like exiling 2 things from my graveyard to get the ability to pay one for mana is expensive for me. Like it'd be one thing if it's like exile 2, you may pay it without paying its mana cost.
Yeah.
Like I'd be very into that. But it's exile 2 cards, 2 legendary cards.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta have 3 legendaries in your graveyard. You get this one that you can cast now,
No.
but
Play.
well, play whatever. So it can be lands, yeah. But you can play it now, and then, but you still got to pay however much mana for that.
I don't know. I think it's when this came out, we were talking about this in the EDH Rec Slack collaboration area, and everybody. So one, this was the last wedged one that we saw for that cycle. Everybody looked at it and they were kind of like, I mean, it's good, but it's not great.
Yeah.
And looking at it, I'm like, I think this is going to be highly underrated. I think you're going to see people making some really cool stuff with this that you would not have expected from like this card. Like it's packaged really well and in such a way that I think it's going to be better than most people realize looking at it. I'm not 100% sure
Perhaps.
why I think that, but I think it's true.
Perhaps. I mean, I'm mid high on it. I think it's interesting. I just don't know,
You're
like.
below Golas, but above Artemis?
Yeah, probably. I think it has the potential to be better than Artemis. I think, or Adamus. You're getting me now. I think it has the potential to be better than Adamus, but just as like a commander and in general, I think it's better. I think Golas is probably the best of the 6 we've talked about so far.
In terms of strength,
Even if it is just 5 color good stuff.
I actually think Artemis might be strong, but I think this one is so well packaged that I think this one's gonna be really good. I would probably put this one over Artemis. I don't know if this is my top one right now, but it's pretty cool. I think it's underrated, and I think people are gonna like make some builds that are gonna surprise a lot of people.
I mean, it's always nice to have cost reduction attached to a card.
Yeah, especially if the archetype is prominent in the colors, which this is an archetype that's prominent in all the colors.
But I
You know
have
what I
a
mean?
question for you.
Hmm.
Have you heard that the bird is the word?
Oh my god, we're not doing that. I will skip over this one and go to the next one. I'm actually not gonna skip over because I'm glad that I get to talk about this one instead of you. I'm talking about Kaikar, Wind's Fury,
So
who's
because you
our.
know I like this card.
This card's so cool. Like
It's awesome.
I was kind of messing with one of my friends from EDH Rec, Angelo, because he's a super Jeskai player, and he's been wanting like a Flyers Matters style commander. And like I was kind of crapping on him, and like we got into a debate a little bit about something, and I'll explain in a minute. But like this is still a good card.
Hmm.
Like this just all right. It's Kakar's Wind's Fury. It costs 1 blue, red, white. It's a legendary creature, bird, wizard. It is a mythic, like the wedges seem to be. It's a flying 3/3. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white spirit token with flying. Then sacrifice a spirit to add red mana. That is the coolest thing I've seen in a Jeskai based deck in a long time. Narset was probably the most recent thing I can think of where people were like ooh and ah. This just is a storm deck. It's a flyers deck. It's a spellslinger deck. It's got a couple different things that it could do. It's a
Yeah,
token deck, but
I like
yeah.
it a lot.
So you talk about how much you like it. I'm gonna go let my dog out before her whining drives me crazy. I'm gonna cut that out of the video. But yeah, tell me what you think about it.
I I just like the spell slingery slash combo decks. I don't know anybody who already knew that about me, but yeah, I like the spell slinger combo decks, and I've built decks before around casting non creature decks. I've done the Tauren thing. I've done you know the Jaleva storms, and I've done the bad things. I did Carno Storm on an MOCL video if you haven't seen that one. So I've done the
Don't
bad
see
things,
it.
and this is just a commander that lets me do the bad things I like to do. Where like DM said, I can storm, I can play just big spell slinger. If I really want to, I can go token wide with it and just like play this in Towerend and young PZ and just make a ton of tokens for casting my non-creature spells and eat face with them somehow. I don't know, but I just really like it. It's just it seems so cool. It seems like a great build around card. It's to me like I haven't built a lot of Jeskai because, like, frankly, none of the other Jeskai commanders are really worth building other than Narset when Narset
Yeah.
is in the picture. And I think this commander gives you a Jeskai commander that you can reasonably say, yeah, I can build this, and it probably isn't as. I mean, no, okay, it's not going to be as good as Narset, I don't think, but I think it at least gives you the conversation. Whereas Ruhan and Zedru and Shuyun are just kind of, eh,
Let's we don't talk about Shu Yun
yeah.
around here.
Well,
As somebody who had a Shu Yun deck for a long time, we don't talk about him.
yeah, I mean, they're all like interesting. Like, I mean, they're interesting in their own right, but they're just not like they're just decks that you build for the interesting factor.
New Dark Cloud, this seems fine.
This seems fine.
Fine.
You get so many options with this New Dark. Are you just not excited about the Jeskai? Do you not like America? Do you not like
Wow.
the red, white, and blue? It's
Please
okay if you
no,
don't.
we're
It's
not doing that. Oh god. That's on the internet forever now.
fine.
All right.
No,
I am
no, it's
curious
not. You
why
can cut it out. It will have to be there forever.
it's on the stream.
Yeah, but
I am
that,
curious
that's
where the
only
fine though
90
comes
seconds.
from because I can't look at this and not see something because white and blue have spirit support. So if you could even do spirit tribal with your non-spirit commander, but whatever. Like, oh, there's so many cool things. You could like you can run Locust God in this deck and just do tokens with like combo stuff. Mana Echoes goes in the deck just like it did with Locust God, but you're now also getting access to white for removal, better RAS.
That's fair, New Dark. That Narset is great. I get
Oh,
Narset is great. But like I said, I really think this one at least gives you a route that's interesting to do.
so going back to the Kalia conversation, I think this gives you a Narset commander that people don't immediately hate you for playing. Because let's be fair, how many people sit down? Yes, Valdor. Hi, I know you're out there.
Yes.
Next to or across from a Narset player and don't think, oh god, now what do I do? Or like, how do I basically make it? It's like this person's fun versus mine. I
Yeah.
don't think that
How
this
do I make
deck.
it where this person is not going to have fun
Yeah,
so that I can have fun?
yeah. I don't think this card contributes to that problem. Whereas I do think Narset does.
Yeah. I like this card. I think there's a lot of cool things you can do with it. I think the sacrificing spirits to add mana, especially when you could make a lot of spirits.
Yeah.
It's a spirit. It's not just a 1/1 spirits. It's any spirit. So
I think
find ways to make other spirits. There's certainly other ways to make spirits in these colors.
I'm not going to be surprised. If somebody put a reminder out there somewhere, it's June 24th, so in 3 months, so July, August, September, so September 24th, come find me and let's look up the EDH stats together, and I bet you this is the most played Jeskai commander. Maybe not ever because Narset has just so much time, but like by this time next year, unless they come out with something else crazy for Jeskai, I wouldn't be surprised if Kaikar's over Narset.
Wow.
Yeah, in a year, definitely.
That's a pretty bold claim, Cotton. I'm not going to back you up on that one.
It's because of exactly the reason we're talking about. People are going to make Narset decks, be miserable because no one's gonna want them to have fun, and like this is just a more fun deck to play and to have played against you.
Yeah, that's probably true. But I
And it's
don't know that it's going to beat Narset in a year.
it's gonna.
Hi.
Where are you on this one?
I'm pretty high. I still don't know whether I like this one or Golos. I see pauses to both. They're definitely two of my favorites.
Yeah, this is
I'm
of the
pretty
ones
high
that
on it.
we've talked about. Like as we're going, this is
And
the highest one I
even
think.
see the potential for it to be more competitive,
Yeah,
depending on how you build it, than a Golos could be.
I think like cantrippy stuff that draws you another card that gives you more mana essentially to keep doing it. The problem is that it's red mana. It's specifically red mana. If it was add 1 mana of any color or something, it'd probably be broken.
Yeah. Oh, it'd definitely be broken if it was like one red, green, or red, white, or blue.
Yeah. But then that'd be freaking phenomenal. All
We'll
right.
get to mono black, sir, but we aren't there yet.
We're going in
Next
alphabetical
card
order.
is Om Nom Nom Nath.
Again?
Focus of the Royal. I
Again?
know. And the weird thing is, every time they print Omnath, he gets another color.
What? They put another color on him?
Yeah, he starts off green, then he's green red. Now he's two more. He's green red blue. He's one a green, a blue, and a red. He's a legendary creature still. He's still an elemental. None of that changed. When he enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to any target equal to the number of elementals you control. That's pretty nice, you know. And then whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on target elemental you control. Okay, can make Omnath bigger, can make some of the other Omnaths bigger. Then this is the next part. If you control 8 or more lands, draw a card.
He does everything.
Does everything. He's like
He's
a
so
kitchen
cool.
sink. He removes things, makes creatures bigger, and he draws you cards. I
That
know a lot of
any
people have already talked about like taking their, their Gruul Omnath decks and making them to more Omnath decks and just running this Omnath with the other Omnath in the 99, and I can't argue with that because they both care about putting a whole bunch of lands onto the battlefield, and having this one seems a little bit better as the commander since it only costs 4 as opposed to the 7 that the other Omnath cost. And then you've got plenty of ways in green to bring the other one back if he, dies.
Yeah.
So
And plus you get to add blue.
yeah, then you got blue. You got counterspell support and card draw and all the fun that blue brings.
I mean, come on. Do you ever run out of cards with your Omnath deck? Your Gruul and Omnath deck?
No, I really
You,
don't. But
you can even put Animar in the 99. That's not a bad idea. There's
yeah,
a
you
lot
could
of
put,
big elementals. God, could you imagine just playing Gruul Omnath for green, blue, red, red?
yeah,
Angry Omnath goes in this deck for sure. Oh yeah,
oh yeah.
yeah. I don't know. Like, it's hard to even say a lot about this one because it's just so. Like, there it
Just so
is.
good. Yeah, it's right on the card. It's right there, and it's good.
Yeah. I kind of like. I guess you could talk a little bit. Like, they downsized Omnath. I guess adding blue cooled him off, so now he's only a
I'm just
3/3.
waiting for the next iteration. He's gonna be, green, blue, red, white, and then finally his final iteration, he's going to be a 5-color commander. And
That's what everybody's saying. Yeah,
Horde of Notions is gonna be replaced as the as the elemental
that's
commander of choice.
very possible. Very possible. I don't know. I like them. I just, again, like I think right in the beginning of the podcast we said something about like some of these are a little bit more obvious, and this is the one that I'm really talking about when I say that. Is that it's just you do elemental stuff. You do pretty much exactly what you said. You have a girl deck. You add blue to it. Maybe you throw in some bluish spells. What is it? What's
You run
Is it?
40 lands, maybe
Yeah,
41 or 42.
yeah, and you just there you go. Like you don't even have to change your Omnith deck that much. You
Yeah.
could probably cut like some of your quote unquote crappier or like some of your more excessive card draw. I'm not card draw.
Ramp.
Yeah, land fetchers or whatever. Like you cut some of the more excessive ones because in Omnom, Angry Omnom, you have a lot of them just to be able to keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
But I think you just probably get away from some of those for some of the other blue spells or some of the other blue elementals like Royal Elemental where you just start stealing people's stuff. Just start being real mean.
Yeah. There's
You
always
high on
that.
this one?
I'm pretty high on this one, yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna build this one just because I've built the other two omniths now, so it's almost like a tradition. Like I feel like if they print a
I've
new
built the other
omnith,
two Omnaths too, so I
like
do feel kind of obligated.
you can't give me another omnath. Make it like more of a card, and then be like, oh no, I'm not gonna do that one too. Of course not. But so I'll probably wind up making one of these. I don't know if I'll do it for like the Commander League or anything, but I will most likely run an Omnith deck at some point in my life. Especially if I
mean,
open them in paper.
If you don't make it for the Commander League,
Oh, you're gonna go in Timor? Timor Elementals?
I'll definitely be making it if you don't. Let's put that way. If
Alright.
you don't call dibs, I'm calling dibs.
I will say, by the way, you did it out of order. The next iteration is gonna have black, and then he's gonna have
Okay.
white because he's got to get corrupted and then get
Um,
redeemed at the end.
Purified.
Yeah, you gotta go. You gotta have the storyline. So
Hey, you got another angel.
I know.
You got
Well,
so many
just you say another angel like there's another one after this one, but first, before we get to
Which
the
I
last
know
angel,
Kali's not technically an angel, but she's an angel who cares. So
that's true. So we do have Reen, Angel of Rebirth. This is your buy a box promo, and it's if you pay attention so far, the other four have been wedges. This is a shard, so this is a Naya one. That's why is I'm correlating the fact that it's a buy a box promo to the fact that it's a shard as opposed to a wedge. So this is 2 red, green, white. It's a legendary angel, 5/4. It is also a mythic, right? Yeah.
it is.
Okay. So whenever I look, I always look down here at the letter, and it's a P for I guess promo, and it threw me off because I thought it said R, and I'm like, no, that symbol is definitely orange reddish. So sorry, kind of confused me. Anyway, abilities are flying. Other multicolored creatures you control get +1/+0. Whenever another multicolored creature you control dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. So yeah, the first time I read this one, I thought it did say Battlefield, so I thought it was a lot better than it is. But yeah, so it's kind of like board wipe protection if your deck is running a lot of 2-color or 3-color cards. I like that about it because that's not something that Naya does naturally. Like, white has ways of bringing some stuff back. Green has a little bit of bringing some stuff back. Red, not so much at all. Green, white, not really. Red, white, not really. Green, red, not at all. So, like, to see it packaged in this way, it's kind of like what we were talking about before with Artemis, is that it's a thing that it doesn't normally do in those colors, but now it kind of does get to do those things a little bit. So,
I'm gonna be honest. This is a commander that makes me actually willing to try to play a Naya commander that isn't called Mist Stalker.
What? That's the only knife that's ever drawn your.
Right. Zakama drew my attention, but so many people did Zakama decks, and Zakama's so like trying to do the same thing all the time that I didn't really like Zakama. And I know saying that Euro is also just trying to do the same thing all the time. Don't get me wrong, but he just does it so much better and faster than Zakama does usually. But so this card just it interests me. I think it can be fun just to throw like some some Gruul cards, some Selesnya cards, some Boros cards, you know, and some Naya cards even. Maybe Zakama goes in this deck. You never know.
That's what I was gonna say. First of all, Zakama goes into this deck, like,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
Zakama goes in every night deck. Come on, let's be real.
not your ultimate stalker. He doesn't.
Why not? You don't want a free dragon or dinosaur? Dragon.
No, I do not. I do not want to take the
What?
card slot for it.
What? And all that removal?
And Kraus is like Gishath, very linear build, but love big stumpy dinosaurs. Yeah, I built Gishath for DM for
Yep.
3H way back when.
Season 2, I think, or 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3. It was a long time ago. It did win, so
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, it won its inaugural game.
Yeah. But I don't know. That's my thing. Is I think it's very cool. I like you said. It would be better obviously if it was to the battlefield, but then that would probably be too good. But even just not losing the cards and they come back to your hand, because Naya kind of runs into the same problems that Boros runs into in a way that it's not very good at refilling your hand all the time.
Yeah.
So
So what do you
I
think
mean, you do
about?
have some ways to do it in green, but
Mhm.
they're few and far between, and you got to draw them.
Yeah.
It's not like when you got blue or black to help you out with drawing cards.
So if I were to say to you, Naya Angels, what would you say? You have Gisela, you have Aurelia,
You got
Feather,
Sigarda.
Sigarda, so both Aurelias, both Giselas,
Yeah, both Sigardas.
both Sigardas. You could even run then mono white Gisela and Bruna. There we go. Because one of them brings back an angel, and that's super good on its own. Trying to think. There's probably some other red white angels. I don't think there's that many green white angels, but like you can almost run like Boros angels with green ram, which they kind of need a lot of.
I like it.
Are there enough multicolored angels for this? Not legendaries, but I think there's a decent amount of red white angels. I'd have to go and like fully like scope it out, but I think it'd be possible. I'm gonna do
even if like every card you're playing isn't getting her benefit too,
yeah.
like I'd play an Avacyn if I was running this angel deck, because then
Oh
they
yeah, yeah.
can't even kill my stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Now
I
my
think
commander's ability is not that relevant, but all my multicolored creatures are still getting bigger,
yeah.
and I think there are a lot. I mean, there's like you said, there are quite a few Boros ones when you break it down.
I mean, just again, just running the numbers off. That was what 6 just off those legendary ones, and I know there's other Boros angels out there from not just the most recent set, but previous sets. They don't they don't all have to be super great or anything like that. And then sometimes you're just gonna have angels, or just like colored lords or something like that, like the red white liege and the green white liege and the white red blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, stuff that just boosts your stuff. Captain Sisay can go on the deck. She's not an angel, but she gets out your other legendary angels. She's a friend of the angels. She's an ally of the angels.
I could see it. It'd be interesting.
All right,
More interesting than the Mardu angel idea you threw out earlier with the crappy commander.
Hey, you're a crappy commander. How about that? So what do you?
This one better. I mean, I'm probably somewhere in the middle, honestly, but
Yeah.
I do see it as like an interesting new thing for Naya to do.
Yeah, I agree.
I like interesting new things for Naya to do.
Yeah. I agree. It's probably higher in the medium for me than probably it is for you. But that's again because I love new stuff in for like the existing colors or whatever. So. All right, we weren't done talking about angels, so.
Yeah, here's another angel, Saphara, Sky's Blade. It's 4 white, 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 and then it's a legendary creature angel. This one's just a rare. You may pay white and tap 4 untapped creatures you control with flying rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Flying, lifelink, other creatures you control with flying have indestructible.
This thing's cool.
I yes and no.
No,
I like
it's
the
cool.
cheating. I like the cheating mana cost thing, but that's about all I like on it. I'll be honest.
It's a flying deck that gives your army of angels or birds or whatever else indestructible.
It's mono white though.
So
Enough said.
you could put it in Reen. We were just talking about how you would put Avacynth in there. I mean, this obviously because Safara doesn't get the indestructible herself. So if somebody does board up, you lose Safara. But it's mono white. You get it back. They just previewed earlier today a recursion spell in mono white that we're not going to talk about in this podcast because we're already going to go over time with the way this is going. But this is cool. This is cool. White has tokens. White has lots of flying tokens. There's birds, there's spirits, there's angels, and then there's a couple other ones. You could even do Thopters because the flyers don't have to be.
There's another green white angel GP Cross just gave us.
Who?
July, Voice of Plenty.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
There you go.
Thopters still work with this?
In reference to this card, but still.
Hey, Thopters still work.
I know. I'm
You
sorry.
could do mono white artifacts.
You know me in mono white.
Yeah, you're bad at it. That doesn't mean it has to be.
You know, Magical Hacker would be here singing this card's praises as the next great savior for mono white and everything else. You know, I'm going to be sitting here saying mono white sucks, unless it's Shram.
I don't know. Mono white's been getting a lot of love.
It has, but it needs all the love it's been getting. That's why it's been getting a lot of love.
Yeah, but at some point, you have to turn around and be like, wow, it's gotten enough staple like cards that it's at least not as bad as it was.
Yeah, and the same thing can be said about Boros, but with Feather, but that's about it.
Well, no, I'm not saying that it's there yet. I'm just making the point of, at some point, right? Like
I said, I like the cheating mana cost thing. I like the fact that if I get enough little flyers out, that I can just do one and drop my commander every single time. I do like that.
This is a great card. Phyrexian just doesn't like.
It's very hard to prevent them from doing that.
Phyrexian just doesn't like white cards.
I don't like mono white card. I'll be honest. I am biased. I don't like mono white cards. I don't think it's a bad card. I think it's a fine card.
So you're not.
It's better than the dragon for sure.
There you go. It's got lifelink too. Come on, this is a cool card.
It's cool. I'm not saying it's not cool. Just for a commander, for me, it's a no.
No, it does not cheat commander attacks New Dark. You do actually have to continue to pay commander attacks afterward. I would say that a board wipe is kind of bad for it, but again, unless you get double board wiped, because the other flyers, yeah, it's still an alternative cost. It does not. Not that it does. You still have to pay commander tax.
Alright.
Yeah, that was one of the first things that we being like the Twitter community that we checked out on. I think I asked Eli, I can't say his last name, but like the rules manager for Wizards. I think I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey, does this work the way I think it does?" And he's like, "No, you're stupid." I'm like, okay.
And it's like, no, you still have to pay the commander. Yeah. Oh, that's not as good then. Now it's even worse.
It's still, if you get board wiped and you lose Safara, you still keep the flyers that you use to cast her for 1 white. So I'm sorry that the next turn, casting her for 3 white, this flying 7/7 that gives your field indestructible at 3 mana is not good enough for you, Phyrexian.
It's not.
Okay.
It's mono white, and there's no good way to give her haste other than Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots, which probably got removed with the board wipe that just happened.
That's not true at all. That's not how most board wipes go.
How most of my board wipes go.
The iconic board wipe that the category Wrath was named after, aka Wrath of God, doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Boom. Got him.
Who's just running Wrath of God anymore?
I mean, yeah, there's a potential for it to... I mean, there's also potential for it to be exile, in which case it doesn't matter, everything gets removed.
That's true. I don't know.
So you're low on it then?
I'm not low on it.
Oh, you're low on it.
I'm low. Not cool. Again, would it be cool? Like, I would put this in like my Flyers Matters deck. I would not make it as a Flyers Matters commander.
Mm-hmm,
Does
hmm.
that make sense? Like if I had another deck where I was like building a deck for a bunch of flyers, like blue white flyers or something like that, or maybe even I'm building the bird tribal, like I'm doing, I'm playing my Naya deck. I throw this in the Naya deck, or not the well yeah in the Naya deck or in the Jeskai deck. Like even if I'm just trying to make a bunch of flyers with the ability, and I play this to protect my flyers so that I can sacrifice them later for mana. I don't know, maybe something like that. I could see it going in other flying matters decks, but I couldn't see playing it as a commander
Okay.
because there's only one good mono white commander, and his name is Shram because he draws cards.
It's okay to be wrong, Crux.
He does the things that mono white doesn't do.
One of the things. He doesn't do both things because they still don't ramp that well.
Well, but he also avoids that problem because the converted mana cost on that deck is like 2.
Your converted mana cost is like 2. Anyway, I'm a lot higher on Safara. I think she's good. I think people, again, it's just like Kethis from before. People are looking too hard to find all the faults in it. And again, like, even in those situations where it's like, oh, it's a board wipe that does get rid of everything, blah blah blah. Those situations are not going to happen every time. There are probably going to be
That's
more
true.
times that the Wrath of God is going to hit, and you are still going to get to cast Safara for the second time for 3. That's my opinion. Is that that's going to happen a lot more often than the other situation.
Good lord, I hope a lot of people aren't playing Wrath of Gods into this because they'd be morons.
Well, I mean, Wrath of God, maybe not just for this. Because if you get rid of this and they have 4 tokens and you're wrathing other people, because it's a multiplayer game. Or who knows, maybe you cast the Wrath of God. Maybe on your turn 5, Wrath of God doesn't seem like that bad of idea. Because you
Well,
get left with your
that I could
flyers.
get behind more.
Yeah.
Hey,
Angel Tribal card, yeah. With, what is it? Divine Visitation? I might be
I
getting
don't know if
birds,
I'm
but I'm
more
really getting
upset you're
angels.
getting this one, or if I'd be more upset you get the last one.
Oh, no, you're mad that I'm getting this one.
I'm mad that you're getting this one, but I also would be mad if you're getting the last one.
You're
So
mad that I get to talk about Villis, Broker of Blood.
yeah,
This
I am.
They previewed this, and the first thing I said was, I don't care that Grizzlebrand is Grizzleband, because I found the 4th demon for all my Liliana contract decks from here on out. This is taking the place of Grizzlebrand. So what he does is, first of all, he's expensive as hell. He's 5
Yeah.
black, black, black. He's a legendary creature demon. He's just a rare because he's monocolored. He's a flying 8/8 for black. Pay 2 life. Target creature gets -1/-1 till end of turn. It's not that great. But whenever you lose life, draw that many cards. Damage causes loss of life in reminder text. So black, pay 2, give a creature -1/-1 is also actually draw 2 cards.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's so good.
Pay 2 life, draw 2 cards. Target creature gets -1/-1.
Kill somebody's
It's
mana
very
dork
good.
or utility creature or like blood artist or
Or
something.
even you do it twice and kill a 2/2, or you do it 3 times and you draw 6 cards and just killed a 3/3.
So good.
That's not bad.
This is really gonna be like, I don't think it's gonna be banned like Grizzlebrand was, but I almost think this is on the power level. You have to pay for it. Like they kind of made it more fair. You have to pay for it, but the whole like lose life to draw cards thing,
Yeah.
you can't really stop it, right? So if somebody
Yeah.
hits you, you have to draw cards. But
Kraus is right. There's so many cards like Sign in Blood, Night's Whispers, Succumb to Temptation, all those that say lose 2 life, draw 2 cards, and I'll say lose 2 life, draw 4 cards.
yeah, this is gonna be a crazy
Necropotent
card.
says lose a life, get 2 cards.
Yeah, draw a card now, draw a card
Draw a
later.
card now and then draw a card and get a card at end of turn.
Yep.
That's what Necropotent says now. Erebos says pay some mana, draw 2 cards.
And honestly, black has so much life gain, and that's what a lot of people were worried about. Is like, oh, what do you do about losing so much life? You're gonna suicide out. I'm honestly more concerned about decking out in a deck like this than I am
Yeah.
about losing too much life. Because black
Because
doesn't.
you'll find ways. And the cost in like in red and white is prohibitive. Like when you're talking about the 7 drops in red and the 7 drop in white, and I see an 8 drop in black, I'm like, oh, that's not that bad for black.
Yeah,
Like you've got Cabal Stronghold, you've got Cabal Coffers, that's just in the lands. You've got
Cryptcast.
Cryptcast, you've got
Yeah.
you know all the Bukus and mana doublers you can run besides that. You
Yeah.
can run your extraplanar lenses and your snow-covered swamps. You can do all that jazz with this deck and find a way to power them out on turn, a lot sooner than 8.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a lot of people getting Villas out turn 5.
Yeah, 5 or 6 I think is very reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, even
Especially
just
if you're
the
talking like fast mana and everything else.
yeah, even just the turn 1 Soul Ring.
Yeah,
That's
turn 1
already
Soul Ring
2
and
turns early.
a jet medallion or something else behind that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Turn
not worried
2
about like casting him. I
turn
think this
2
is
Cryptcast and you could turn 3 a Villas.
it's just so good. Yeah, Fireheart was just talking about Lich's mastery for this. That's a very good card for this
Yeah.
dude.
That way you don't die.
Hmm.
But did you die? I don't know. This is another one though. Like who was it before? Omnith, right? Like it's so well put and done on the card. I don't like. I could just sit here and just start naming cards that are good with it. But it's like, is it a card that says pay life, lose life, draw cards, and it's in black? Then yeah, it's probably good with this as a commander. Or is it a way to get more mana? Because that helps you play this, right, as your commander. So that's kind of like how I feel about it. Like, yeah, it's just a great card. You should like I shouldn't have to sit here and talk about it, even though I could sit here and build the deck. But how do I hype up what is probably the coolest? Like, this is probably the top for me for all the legendary creatures. Now that we're finally to it, even over the next one. Oh, spoiler alert! The next one I really like, but I think this one's actually cooler.
I think I'm more likely to build the other one
Mm-hmm.
just because my track record, strangely enough, my track record with Mono Black hasn't been that great.
I'm
Because I
not
do like black
surprised.
a lot,
You non-believer.
non-believer. But
Yeah.
let's talk about the last one because, like you said, this one's pretty well explained on the card. It is just a really good card. Yeah, 8 mana is a little bit to cast it, but Mono Black can get there. Mono Black has great ramp.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Yarok, Desecrated,
Yeah.
Sultai. So it's 2, a black, a green, and a blue. It's a legendary creature, Elemental Horror. It's another one of our mythics, as
Mm-hmm.
Ian said, the shards seem to be. And if a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So it's like Enharmonicon, except not just for creatures and artifacts. It's for every permanent.
It's actually a little bit stupider than that. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a trigger ability of a permanent you control, so it doesn't matter if somebody else has something enter the battlefield as long as you control the triggering thing. So the biggest example of this is I think it's Bloodseeker, which is like a
Yeah.
little vampire where whenever a creature enters the battlefield on somebody else's uh, enters on somebody else's battlefield, you can make them lose a life. So this triggers that twice because they had the thing enter, but you have the thing triggering. So you get to do that twice. Sire of Stagnation is the other really good one, where whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, I think they exile the top 2, and you can like take their lands or something like that of the exile cards. So like that's crazy. And Sultai has so many good enter the battlefield effects in their colors. Like
Which
look at
Sultai?
yeah. Well, who is it? Just DP Cross just said Tatiova.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, why wouldn't I want my value to be more value? Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Even stupid stuff. Wood elves. Yeah, I'd like to go get another land for 3 mana and a body.
Yeah. Ewit.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I'll take 2 cards back from my graveyard. So I can, then get more when I
yeah
play those cards.
more value. Mole Drifter. There you go.
And then you play Panharmonica in the deck too, because why not trigger 2 additional times?
So does is Panharmonicon is in instead of right or an additional time right? It's not a trigger.
Well, look it up, yeah. I hear
If an
you.
artifact or a creature entering the battlefield causes a triggered So yeah, Panharmonicon is a triggered ability too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Yara triggers Panharmonicon twice, right? Yeah.
Perhaps.
I don't know.
I don't
Like
know how that works. Get a rules expert, people. I really don't know how that works. I'd have to ask somebody, but
but that's to me that's oh, New Dark saying no it doesn't. Ah well. Even still, even if you do have
that's still
Panharmonicon
3 times.
out, yeah, 3 times. Again, so even dumb stuff, Wood Elves, Elvish, Visionary, like stupid little small things that where you don't have to pay extra mana to get those additional effects become explosively different. 2 mana, get a 1/1, draw 3 cards. If you have Yark and Panharmonicon out, that's insane.
Yeah.
I just and this is almost like we were just talking about. Like you put stuff that says enter the battlefield on it. That's all you do. You literally go to Scryfall and just type in enter the battlefield effects and voila.
I just
In
want to say,
Sultai.
like, I know you and I are Golgari, Sultai, Demir people to the heart, but honestly, just every time, can they print a bad Sultai commander? Is there a bad Sultai commander?
Uh isn't the one of the legendary dragons kind of like meh?
Maybe. If that is, then that would be the one. Because Sultai commanders are very good.
Sultai commanders
Think
are
about it, Muldrotha.
Oh, yes, they did. We banned it out of the format. They printed one Sultai commander that even I cannot stand. Um, looking at him, there's Vorosh, which is just the get encounters guy. He's probably the least interesting.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
Vorosh the Hunter is probably bad, but like Muldrotha, Tassiger, Sidisi, Mimeoplasm, Damia, they're all great, and Leveled was so great he got banned.
no, that's not the case at all.
That's
We don't.
exactly the case.
That is not like a proper representation of the Praetor Magic mindset. I just want everybody to know we do not endorse that comment. Oh my.
I know it was terrible for the format. I'm not saying it was great, but like he did just shut people down. He
Yeah,
did
he's
a
shutting
thing.
all of Magic down. I think actually, Vorosh and Damia might be the weakest ones. Maybe Sidisi? Those might be the lower 3?
If you're saying if you're putting Damia in the weaker, then that just shows you how good Sultai is that you're having to say.
Well, I'm
Oh, that
saying
one
like
might be one of the weakest.
Tassiger and Muldrotha, and I think even Mimeoplasm's probably the third. Oh no, maybe Sidisi. Maybe Sidisi is the third, and then Damia, and
Yeah, I
then
mean,
Mimeoplasm. But yeah, they do good Sultai commanders.
yeah,
I will say this, and this is something
also you're
that
right. Damia is only mad because Sultai is just that good.
I do think this. Um, I don't think Yarok should have been a Sultai commander, and
I was thinking the same thing.
the reason why I say that is because
Should have been banned.
yeah, if you had made it in the ban, if the black had been a white mana instead, you would have had a great flicker commander that wasn't enchantress based, like a band commander that wasn't enchantress based, but that did flicker stuff.
Well,
And
you already had Rune though, I guess, but
this would have been better. I
it would
mean,
have been better than Rune. Yes,
we
Rune would
already
have gone in the
have
deck, but this would have been a better commander than Rune.
we have Muldrotha, which kind of does similar stuff in the sense of it enters the battlefield, it dies, you bring it back, and it
But
enters
do
the
you think
battlefield
that was
again.
intentional? That's my question. Do you think they intentionally didn't put it in Bant so that you couldn't just throw Brago and Rune in the deck?
No, I
Get
honestly
more
think
value?
somebody thought this was a really cool idea, and it was, and because they were doing it in wedges, they had to put it in Sultai.
Hmm.
Like, I think if they had the freedom to do this in whatever colors they wanted to, somebody may have at least had the conversation of like, isn't this kind of a band commander? Not commander, but
Yeah.
legendary creature. Like, isn't this kind of a Bant effect? Because you could even keep the Death Touch and the Lifelink on it in Bant. Well, maybe not in Bant. In Esper, though, you could, I guess, if you
Mhm.
wanted to change the green to a white. It could have been an Esper commander.
Yeah, they've done Esper Flicker.
Yeah, I could have seen that. And then you wouldn't have even had to change the Death Touch and Lifelink. If it was banned, it'd probably be either like Flying or Vigilance with Lifelink, or First Strike maybe. That'd be kind of weird. Green does have Death Touch, but I think green Death Touch is typically more paired with black. I don't like. Do you see a lot of green white things with Death Touch or green blue things with Death Touch? That's kind of where I'm going with that. Because like the colors individually can
And how
have
many
like.
things do we have that have Death Touch?
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, have you ever seen that? Because I
You
don't
ever
think.
seen Bant Death Touch? Because I don't think it exists.
Yeah, because even though a
Finds the card that
color.
proves me wrong.
Yeah, right. Even though a color can dabble in different mechanics, sometimes how they pair with other colors determines like, does this fit? Does that mechanic fit with now what they're doing? Because you're no longer just green, you're green with these things. So, but again, if no, I wouldn't have said this was Abzan. Because I don't.
Yeah.
You could probably swing it, but it's not an Abzani thing. Because Esper, I think white blue is really what you need. I think the white pairing with blue is really what you need for this to make perfect sense. Again, I don't think it's terribly unheard
I
of
mean, but I'm
because
fine with it because they still gave me blue, so I still have,
yeah.
I still have Deadeye Navigator, and that's all I really need.
Oh, you still just yeah, that's right. You just need a crutch. I understand.
You just still throw Deadeye Navigator in this deck and just laugh
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
you're
you're right.
doing the thing, every turn for 2 mana.
You're right. You do just need your crutch. You're correct. I understand you.
You mean
All
the
right.
card that becomes my commander when I let my commander get exiled?
Yes,
That's
when you're bad at MTGO, yes,
when
it
I'm
does
bad at
become your commander.
MTGO triggers and I let Brago get exiled, it just becomes my commander.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah,
So
I mean, yeah.
you said you're probably higher on this one than Villas.
I am the highest on this one, I think. This is the one I'm the most excited about building. Probably followed shortly by 5 color good stuff just because I like good stuff.
Yeah.
And then mono black. Then Omnath. Then Artemis. Or Adamus.
Got him.
He's got me 100%. And then Hiker, probably. Or the 6 I'd be the interest in building, probably in that order.
Ooh, if we're really going in order, Villas is number one because it's just dumb. I
I
don't
agree, it's just
know.
dumb.
I
But again,
don't
my track
know.
record with mono black.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the person to do the Kethis deck, the Abzan Elf, but I would like to see it. Kaiker, I think, is actually probably my second, because again, it's something that I'm not. That's that one because it's not something I'm used to or well versed at, but I think I could make it work because of what I think the payout is, which is again, I think it's a Storm card. Because
Yeah.
getting red mana, there's 2 red payoffs in Storm that win games. So that I can think of off the top of my head. So and there's also one in blue that you have access to, and you can just keep blue mana until you have enough red mana to pay the generic or something like that. Man, then probably Yarok, then probably Omnith. And those are my top 4, I think. Right? Villas, Kaikar.
I could see myself making an attempt to build any of those 6, is what I'm saying. I could
Yeah.
even maybe do the Naya one. It's just I'm really not, other than Ural.
Yeah. I
Kind of like
could.
I'm not a mono white player other than Shram. Apparently, I can only play certain colors, and play Voltron is about the only way I can play them.
Yeah.
Certain color combinations, I can only play Voltron.
Karkar may replace Shu Yun in my Tempest of Tokens deck. I think Karkar replaces again almost all of the Jeskai commanders. Again, minus Narset, but I think in a year Karkar will be the more fun one to play. You'll still have people who say, well, Narset's stronger, and they'll be right because of that hexproof on Narset. And again, she just cheats out cards. Period.
And cheating out cards is powerful. We keep
Yep.
saying it.
But I think Kaikar is going to be the more preferred deck at tables. You're going to have people who like to build Narset, but then you're going to have tables who are like, dude, if you were to change Narset for Kaikar, I'd be fine with your deck. 100%.
I agree with that 100%. I also agree with Kraus 100% that definitely this has been an insanely good year for EDH.
Yeah, I will say this, and we might talk about this more next week if we do go over like kind of a core set review and not just the legendary creatures, because we have to wrap this up in a second. This core
If
set
we're
has
already
not,
long.
yeah, this core set has not felt like a old school core set at all. This has felt like a supplemental set.
Hmm.
Whereas again, like Modern Horizons, everybody joked was Commander Horizons. Battle Bond, everybody's like, well, this set's for Commander. Like this set has felt like that. So whatever they changed internally to do this core set, I think was great. And Gavin even did go and say Commander in a tweet recently. He was like, "Well, Commander's one of our." I forget what the topic was exactly. It may have been in related to core. I think it was when he was talking about his preview cards, but he was like, "Commander is some of our most important, or is one of our most important formats." And then he was like, "And here's my preview cards." So there you go. Like, Commander is one of the most important formats. Two wizards. So hopefully we keep seeing more stuff like this, even in standard. Because I think War was really good. I think both the Ravnica sets were really good for Commander. I thought Dominaria was great for Commander. Like, it has
Battlebond was
just.
great for Commander.
What was that?
Battlebond was great for
Yeah.
Commander. That
Well,
was within this year, right? Wasn't it July?
yeah. Well, I'm just like just the standard sets because normally like at least a few years ago the standard sets were always kind of meh for Commander. Like there'd be onesie twosie cards, but it feels like every set nowadays there's a dozen cards that are going to be great in Commander.
I would agree with that.
And it's a really good feeling. It's a really good time, I think, to be a Commander player overall.
So if you aren't a Commander player already, come play Commander.
Yeah, especially in Vegas coming up in August. Oh,
I'm not going.
but you can play with the other 4/5 of us.
I'll actually already be back at work then.
Oh, that's even more
We
depressing.
switched to a modified year-round schedule for next year, so on July 31st is my first work day.
What is this Commander format
Students
you
come
speak
back
of?
in August 10th.
That sounds awful. But we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah.
Because that is it. We have gone over all 12. If there are some legendary creatures that come out after that, sorry, we can't predict the future. But I like the 12. I think they were all really good. Even the ones that we were not super excited about, I think were at least kind of cool as far as like commanders go. Or at least in decks, right? Like
I
we
took the
talked about
time to
the.
digest it, though. I think the dragon's definitely the worst.
Yeah, I agree. I think you can go in dragon decks and be fine. But
Even some dragon decks, just because of the triple red.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. A lot of dragon decks tend to have green in them because of like Atarka has green in them, so I think you can fix your colors fine. But anyway, join us of course next week. We're gonna probably be talking more about Core 2020. Until then, I think John and Danny are streaming tomorrow at 8:30. We may stream at 9. We did something a little different last week. Not gonna go into too much detail. We recorded some gameplay that I might turn into narrated gameplay like we did for the feather video. If you haven't seen that, go on to youtube.com/Praetor Magic for those of you listening in podcast land and check out that video. It is a new kind of video. We've only ever done one. And tell me if you like it. If you didn't like it, tell me why. If you did like it, tell me what you liked about it so that hopefully we can try to perfect it and do it a little bit better. And yeah, that's all I really got. Phyrexian, you got anything?
Not on social media. Come find me on Discord.
Oh, I forgot to say it at the beginning of the stream. We are now sponsored by our friends over at inkgaming.com, and I can't forget to say that because they're so cool, and they offer us the ability to give you an affiliate link along with a 10% off coupon code, which is Praetor10, Praetor10. So use that code, get 10% off your purchase, use the affiliate link, which you can find in the video description or the audio description down below. That way they know that you came from us, and again, you help support the channel. Thanks very much. You can also now not sponsor, support us over at patreon.com/Praetor Magic. Starts at $1 a month. Just helps us out. It helps us buy ticks to build decks and do other stuff. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all we got for you though this week. It was very exciting and we went over a little bit of time, so we're gonna kind of do this one a little quick. See y'all next week. Peace.
See ya. Peace.